Even the best cartoons have mistakes, and Peppa Pig is one of them. Finding animation errors and sharing them with you is something we love doing. As we near the end of 2024, we decided to compile all our mistakes into a single video. Let's dive straight into it. In the episode Swimming, we can see a changing door with 4 doors. The colors from left to right are blue, green, yellow, and red. When we get to the end of the episode, something strange happens. The colors of the door change completely. The first door is now red and the last one blue, which means the colors are completely reversed. Number 2. In the scene where we are in Peppa and George's room, we can see that it's night because there is a moon at the window. A couple of seconds later, the moon disappears. Number 3. In the Chloe's Puppet Show episode, we can see that there is a panda bear toy on top of the bed and a ball at the bottom of the same bed. A few frames later, they both disappear out of nowhere. In the Pancakes episode, Mummy Pig makes pancakes for the pig family. The milk jug is filled slightly above the handle. After Mummy Pig pours the milk into the flour mix, notice that the milk stays at the same level as before. Number 2. In the episode Best Friend, while Susie and Peppa are near the toy basket, we see 2 drawings behind them on the wall. However, a few seconds later, when the girls are lying on the ground having fun, the drawings suddenly disappear. Number 3. In the episode Captain Daddy Pig, the entire pig family goes on a boating adventure. In this scene, we can see that there is nothing on the boat's pole. However, a few moments later, a bell suddenly appears out of nowhere. In the episode Daddy Pig's Birthday, George is seen wearing red shoes when the whole pig family decides to go outside and jump in a muddy puddle. When they arrive at the puddle, we see that George's shoes are now orange instead of red. Number 2. In the episode Captain Daddy Pig, the entire family is on Grandpa Pig's boat, and we see Daddy Pig standing on a simple deck. However, a few frames later, a hatch appears out of nowhere. Number 3. In one of the scenes from the episode The Playground, Daddy Pig goes up the slide but gets stuck after going down. Peppa and her friends use the slide to set Daddy Pig free. If we look at the order from left to right, Peppa comes first, followed by Susie, Danny Dog, Candy Cat, Rebecca, and Pedro. However, when they finally rescue Daddy Pig from the slide, Rebecca Rabbit is no longer there. In the episode Grampy Rabbit's Jetpack, we can see a speed limiter on this side of the jetpack. When the scene changes, the speed limiter is no longer there. In the episode School Camp, Peppa is wearing a purple backpack. When she starts to set up the tent with Susie Sheep, her backpack suddenly turns red. Another mistake can be found in the same episode. When Susie Sheep leaves her tent, she has a red torch in her hand. But when she arrives at Madame Gazelle's tent, watch how the color of the torch is now purple. In the episode Traffic Jam, Peppa and her family are stuck in the traffic. If we take a look at Miss Rabbit's car, we can see that her ears are sticking out of her car. Number 2. In the episode Richard Rabbit Comes to Play, in the scene where Susie Sheep enters the room, we can see a drawing of an elephant and a fairy close to the window. However, when the scene zooms out, the drawings are in a completely new position. Number 3. In the episode Grampy Rabbit's Lighthouse, in the scene where they arrive at the lighthouse, we can see that Grandad Dog's shirt is clean. A few frames later, mud appears on his shirt and face out of nowhere. Subscribe. Did you spot these mistakes in Peppa Pig? Number 1. In the episode Sun, Sea, and Snow, when Mummy Pigs decides to go for a swim, we can see her taking off her clothes and leave them on the ground. However, a few frames later, her clothes are suddenly gone. Number 2. At the beginning of the episode Swimming, we can see a changing door with 4 colors. The colors from left to right are blue, green, yellow, and red. However, at the end of the episode, the colors are completely different. The colors are now red, yellow, green, and blue. Number 3. In the episode Ballet Lesson, we can see Danny Dog jumping his way towards the left side. However, a few seconds later, he appears on the right side of the screen. When Peppa talks about her parents getting a playgroup star, the picture that Peppa made has a white background. When Peppa asks Daddy Pig if he did get a playgroup star or not, the picture that Peppa made has now a blue background. Number 2. When Daddy Pig returns home from work, he is wearing a white shirt and a tie, but a few seconds later, he miraculously changes into his casual home clothing, and there is no tie nor a white shirt. Number 3. Peppa and George are seen standing at the sink, ready to brush their teeth. The bathroom sink is full of water, but in the next frame, the water is suddenly gone. At the beginning of the episode, The Dentist, we can see George and Peppa near the sink, getting ready to brush their teeth before going to bed. If we take a look at the sink, we can see that it's completely filled with water. However, in the next frame, the sink is completely empty. Number 2. In the episode Painting, George and Peppa are painting happy little trees. When Peppa dips her brush into the yellow paint, we can see it on her paintbrush. However, a few moments later, the paint on the brush disappears and reappears out of nowhere. Number 3. Another mistake can be found in the same episode. When Peppa puts the yellow paint on her hands and makes her handprint on the canvas, the position of the drawing is in the middle of the canvas. However, when the scene zooms out, it changes towards the upper part of the canvas. Number 4. In the episode Cleaning the Car, when George is washing the mud off the windows, we can see that there are 2 mud stains. George starts cleaning the front glass of the car, but when the scene zooms out, notice that the second mud stain is no longer there. Number 5. In the episode George's Friend, George is ready to build some crazy sand castles with Rebecca's younger brother. If we take a closer look at the scene, notice that each of them has a sand bucket. However, a few frames later, the buckets vanish from the scene without any explanation. In the episode The New House, Peppa is seen playing on a swing. However, a few frames later, when the Wolf family arrives, the swing is no longer there. Number 2. In the episode Skateboarding, Peppa is doing some amazing tricks on her skateboard. If we look closer at the stickers on her skateboard, we can see some smiley face stickers. When we pause and slow down the scene, watch how one of the stickers suddenly changes position. Number 3. In the episode Santa's Grotto, we can spot Zoe Zebra and Mummy Zebra. But wait, who's that on the Ferris wheel? Yep, that's right, Mummy Zebra and Zoe Zebra. For some reason, the animators decided to clone them. In the episode The Fish Pond, in one of the scenes, George and Peppa have both an ice cream in their hands while they are walking to the pond. When Daddy Pig is talking to Miss Rabbit, the scene zooms in and then zooms out again. But wait, where did Peppa and George's ice cream go? It's impossible they have finished it in one bite. Number 2. In the episode Chloe's Puppet Show, Chloe Pig invites Peppa and George to come inside because she wants to show them something. When they are walking up the stairs, take a look at the door. Here we can see that the door handle is on the left side. However, at the beginning of the episode, the door handle was on the opposite side. Number 3. In the episode Super Potato, in the scene where Super Potato gets to Peppa's school to save Mr. Potato, who is trapped in his car, Super Potato uses his incredible power to lift the glass lid off and save Mr. Potato. The mistake is that before the lid is completely raised, Mr. Potato's head glitches through as if the laws of physics took a day off. At the beginning of the episode, The Great Barrier Reef, we see a barbecue grill by the front door. However, later in the episode, the barbecue grill is suddenly gone. Number 2. In the episode Grandpa Pig's Greenhouse, in the scene where Grandpa Pig is throwing the ball at Grandad Dog's greenhouse, we can see flower pots and a watering can. However, when Grandad Dog kicks the ball back, we can see that the flower pots and watering can have disappeared. Number 3. At the very beginning of the episode Bedtime, we can see that the sun is at the right side, but when we enter the kitchen, we can notice the sun through the window instead of the right side like before. In the episode Captain Daddy Pig, we can see that there is nothing at the back of the boat. However, a few frames later, a black cylinder appears out of nowhere. Number 2. In the same episode, we can see that there is nothing at the pole of the front of the ship. However, a few seconds later, a bell appears out of nowhere. Number 3. In the workshop scene in the episode Grandpa Pig's Computer, we can see a basket with tools on the shelf. However, a few frames later, the basket disappears out of nowhere. Subscribe. Did you notice these animation mistakes in Peppa Pig? Number 1. In the episode Trampolines, we can see that Susie is wearing blue-colored shoes. However, when she puts them out, notice how they are now purple instead of blue. Number 2. In the episode Mr. Skinny Legs, we can see a wall from the dollhouse behind Peppa. However, a few seconds later, it disappears out of nowhere. Number 3. During the episode Granny Sheep Moves In, Mummy Sheep enters the room and picks up 3 cardboard boxes. Notice how the color of the box at the top changes when they reach the other room. In this scene, Peppa and her squad are playing soccer. As we can see, 4 trees around them have fruits on them. But then, boom, mid-episode, the fruits just vanish like they've got better things to do, only to magically reappear as if nothing happened. Number 2. In the episode The Market, we can see that there is a lamppost between the apple and Mr. Bull's stall. However, when the camera zooms in, the lamppost is suddenly gone. Number 3. In the episode The Diner, we can see Peppa and George standing near a mic on a small stage. If we take a look at the crowd, we can see that there is an elephant. If we slow the scene down, you'll notice that his tusk disappears for a hot second and then reappears again out of nowhere. What kind of glitchy universe is this? In the episode Chloe's Puppet Show, when Peppa's family arrives at Daddy Pig's brother's house, the door handle is on one side of the door when it opens. However, when we see the kids inside the house, the door handle is on the opposite side. Number 2. When Super Potato gets to Peppa's school to save Mr. Potato, who is trapped in his car, he uses his incredible power to lift the glass lid. However, if you look closely, you'll notice that before the lid is completely raised, Mr. Potato's head passes through. Number 3. At the start of the episode Power Cut, we see Peppa and George happily dancing to music. Pay attention to the stereo in the family's living room. After the power outage, we can see that the stereo is facing the opposite direction. In the episode Sailing Boat, George and Peppa go sail with Grandpa Pig. In this scene, we can see nothing behind Grandpa Pig on the boat. However, However, a few frames later, a hatch suddenly appears out of nowhere. Number 2. In the episode Fairy Tales, we see Mr. Fox opening the door. He is wearing a purple suit with a white shirt and blue tie. However, when they all go inside for lunch, Mr. Fox's shirt and tie are no longer there. Number 3. In the episode The Perfect Day, we can see that Mr. Bull is getting a massage in Miss Rabbit's spa. However, when Peppa, George, and Daddy Pig leave the spa and decide to explore the mall, Mr. Bull can be seen in another shop. In the episode Chloe's Puppet Show, we can see in this scene that there are 4 puppets inside the box. When Chloe pulls a puppet out of the box and starts painting its eyes, a few seconds later, the 4th puppet reappears again in the box. Number 2. In the same episode, when Chloe takes a puppet out of the box and paints it into a dinosaur as George wanted, we can see that 2 puppets are remaining in the box side by side. However, a few frames later, each of them move to one end of the box. Number 3. In the episode Daddy Pig's Birthday, in the scene where Mummy Pig pours all the cake batter into the cake pan, we can see that the bowl is completely empty. However, when Mummy Pig puts the cake in the oven, the bowl Peppa is holding is no longer empty. In the episode Tidying Up, when we look at Peppa's room, notice how small it is. However, when Daddy Pig enters and steps on a toy car, he starts sliding across the room. Notice how much bigger and longer the room is. Number 2. In the episode Once Upon a Time, Peppa reads a story to her little brother George. Behind George, we can see a cat drawing and a red toy car. A few frames later, the red toy car disappears out of nowhere. Number 3. In the episode Parachute Jump, we can see Mummy Pig, George, and Peppa in the kitchen. If we take a closer look at the fridge, notice that there are a few stickers. Take a look at the letters A and B. When the scene zooms out and zooms back in, the letter B is suddenly gone. In the episode Tidying Up, when we look at Peppa's room, notice how small it is. However, when Daddy Pig enters and steps on a toy car, he starts sliding across the room. Notice how much bigger and longer the room is. Number 2. In the episode Once Upon a Time, Peppa reads a story to her little brother George. Behind George, we can see a cat drawing and a red toy car. A few frames later, the red toy car disappears out of nowhere. Number 3. In the episode Parachute Jump, we can see Mummy Pig, George, and Peppa in the kitchen. If we take a closer look at the fridge, notice that there are a few stickers. Take a look at the letters A and B. When the scene zooms out and zooms back in, the letter B is suddenly gone. In the episode Daddy Pig's Birthday, George is seen wearing red shoes when the whole pig family decides to go outside and jump in a muddy puddle. When they arrive at the puddle, we see that George's shoes are now orange instead of red. Number 2. In the episode Captain Daddy Pig, the entire family is on Grandpa Pig's boat, and we see Daddy Pig standing on a simple deck. However, a few frames later, a hatch appears out of nowhere. Number 3. In one of the scenes from the episode The Playground, Daddy Pig goes up the slide but gets stuck after going down. Peppa and her friends use the slide to set Daddy Pig free. If we look at the order from left to right, Peppa comes first, followed by Susie, Danny Dog, Candy Cat, Rebecca, and Pedro. However, when they finally rescue Daddy Pig from the slide, Rebecca Rabbit is no longer there. Subscribe.